Hello, students. Hi. Hi, fellows. Hello there. My name is Joe Delamonica. I am recording this from Chicago, Illinois. That's where I live. And I am a independent financial advisor for a company called Ameriprise Financial. I've been doing that for about 23 years now, helping my clients plan for their future and save and invest wisely and reach their goals and dreams for the future. That is what I do for a living. And I'm happy to be here to help share with you some concepts about investing for your future. I know you're learning a lot these days, and as far as your financial course, I was down last July in Mexico with the students and fellows at that time teaching the course. Unfortunately, because of the COVID virus this year, we're not able to do that, but we're sending this to you through video. And I am so proud of each and every one of you, all of your efforts, and I'm very excited about your future and what is to come in your lives. So yes, let me start by saying that you've got a lot of things that you're working on. You're working on your budgets, which is very, very important. You're working on saving money into building up some cash for you for an emergency or an opportunity that should arise. And then down the road, there's going to be a day where you're going to have enough money where you can save and invest for building up wealth for your future. And that's what I know will happen. It's not here yet. You're still young and you still have a lot of learning to do. But we certainly hope that you are going to get to be where you're at in the future, in a job that's going to pay you well, that you're going to be able to eventually put away money and continue to build wealth for your future. So I want to encourage you to think about your own situation, about how you want to live your life, both today and through the future, because having a goal is most important. You want to plan for the future properly, and it's never too early to plan. So if you have a goal in mind and you know what you want to do with your life, it's important to start acting on that. And of course, things change. You can always change things along the way, but you have to have a plan of what you're working towards. So what are your most important financial goals? Those are the things you have to start thinking about and asking yourself. You likely have goals with also different time frames. Some are for today, some are short term, and some are more long term for the future. So take a few minutes to think about what your goals, both short and long term, would be. And the way you invest for those short and long term goals will be different based upon your risk tolerance and your time frame to those goals. So whatever your goals may be, understanding financial basics is the first step to achieving your goals. So today, we're going to be talking about certain concepts and what can help you as you get started along the way. So let's start with, exactly what is investing? What does that mean? Well, investing is really a concept of putting away money for your future. So investing crash course comes down to what I feel are three important things. Number one is to get invested. It's never too early to get invested and make it routine and regular. The more time you have, the better off you're going to be. Diversify amongst different investments because, as they say, you don't want all your eggs in one basket. You want to diversify. So we'll talk about that briefly. And you want to stay invested, because people get nervous, they get emotional, they'll pull money out of an investment at the wrong time. You want to stay invested and have a discipline to know whether the investments are good or bad, as far as discipline to make sure that you stay on track and continue with your investment strategy. So how do you invest? Let's talk about a couple of things as far as where to invest. I'm sure you've heard of stocks and bonds. So let's go through exactly what a stock is and what a bond is. A stock is basically an ownership or a piece of ownership within a company. and then you earn a specific return or an anticipated return from that company. As the company makes money and the stock prices go up, then your piece of that company or your stock will go up. So a stock is a way for a company to raise money, and they give you ownership or a share in that company. And there's multitude of different companies, McDonald's, Coca-Cola, Disney. So they issue shares, and as an individual, you can purchase a share of stock. The other type of investment is called a bond. A bond is when a company raises money, but they issue a debt. So it is an IOU that they are going to issue you, technically, where they are going to give you a set rate of return for a specified period of time. And that specified period of time could vary. It could be 1 year for the bond. It could be a 3-year bond. It could be a 30-year bond. And during that time that the bond is, still active, it is going to give you a certain specified rate of return. And at the end of that time period, you're going to get your money back that you initially invested. So it is just, a guarantee that you'll receive your lump sum of money back at the end of the time period, and that you're going to get that fixed interest rate over that period to that future date. And finally, mutual funds are also a way to invest. Now, mutual fund is a professionally managed, diversified portfolio of either stocks, bonds, stocks and bonds, or other types of investments. And there's a professional money manager that makes those decisions for investors. So we group together a bunch of investors. Anybody who wants to invest can send their money into a specific mutual fund. And every mutual fund has a different objective. You may want to invest in a mutual fund that invests in large US companies, or it may be an international stock mutual fund, or it may be a bond mutual fund. The bond might invest in more risky bonds, or it might be more conservative US Treasury bonds. There's all kinds of objectives of mutual funds, and it's just about what is within your risk tolerance and how do you go about making those choices to invest in mutual funds. The other thing you can possibly invest in is yourself. You might want to invest in a business that you want to open up and run. And that's also an investment because you're hoping that business will grow and that you will make money. Or you might want to invest in a friend's business. So there are the different types of investments that you can make outside of the structure of stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. So yes, let's talk about diversification. Diversification is a concept where, as I mentioned, you don't put all your eggs in one basket. You want to spread it around different types of investments, okay, with different types of risk. But you also want to make sure that you're smart about those risks. And that, let me give you an example of diversification by using a single or a house that you buy and you have a window. That window can be a single pane of glass, right? Or it can be a number of different panes in that window. If you have a single pane of glass and somebody throws a rock into that window, it's going to shatter and the whole thing is going to have to be replaced, right? And you're going to lose money on it's going to be more expensive for you. But if you have a rock that's thrown through a window that has 4 individual separate panes of glass and one rock goes through one of those panes, it only shatters that one pane of glass. The other 3 will be intact. That's basically the point of diversification. When you have an appropriate mix of investments in your portfolio, chances are better your portfolio won't shatter when it's hit by a market downturn. So investments need to be spread around so you can balance them out and you can do relatively better over time. And so, yes, you can be investing not only in different types of investments, but you also have to invest in a way that best fits your age and your risk tolerance. So risk tolerance refers to the degree to which you're willing to invest recognizing the possibility that investment may lose value than what you anticipated. For example, let's say your risk tolerance is more conservative. It makes sense for you to invest then more heavily in bonds. And also, if your time frame is shorter, you'd want to be more conservative because you have less time to reach that goal and you don't want to risk it, right? So conversely, if you have a longer time frame to your goal, like retirement, you have many, many years, 20, 30 plus years to invest, you can be a little bit more risky, and that means you can be more heavily invested in stocks. The other thing to keep in mind is your tolerance for loss, because this trips people up along the way. So for instance, if you are comfortable with only losing 10% of your investment, right? Or more so in a given year, and you lose more than that, say you lose 15%, you're going to be more inclined to remove that investment and sell. And so you probably will be selling at the worst time when the market is in a downturn. So trying to do that is going to trip you up along the way. So you really want to understand your risk tolerance and your tolerance for loss, because that will guide how you invest in the future. So also, neither of these types of concepts, as far as risk tolerance and your, how you invest, are set and forget type of strategies or approaches. As your life changes, your tolerance for risk will also change. So you'll want to rebalance your portfolio based upon your current risk and your tolerance for loss. Rebalancing is a process where you realign the weightings of your investments between stocks and bonds, or different types of stocks, different types of bonds, in order for you to, periodically buy and sell assets in the portfolio to maintain a certain risk tolerance. And that will change over time based upon your age and based upon how your tolerance for risk changes. Okay, let's move on to an example of diversification. Let me give you an example of Penelope and Piper and how they invest their money. And this is just a hypothetical investment, okay? And I'm not saying that you have this type of money to invest, but let's say that Piper and Penelope, they're both sisters, they invest $10,000, okay, to start off with, and they are going to stay invested for 25 years. What happens if they both invest differently? So Penelope puts the entire $10,000 in a return that hypothetically returns her 6%. That's good. 6% return. That's not bad at all. Piper, on the other hand, says, wait a second, I'm going to divide my 10,000 4 different ways, and I'm going to diversify and keep that money invested for 25 years. Let's see how they do. After 25 years, Penelope, who just had one investment for those 25 years at 6%, her money grew from $10,000 to close to $43,000. That's pretty good, okay? Let's see how her sister Piper did. So Piper, who invested 4 different ways, actually came out better than her sister Penelope. So by diversifying her portfolio that included riskier assets than her sister, Piper actually achieved higher returns overall, okay? Diversification helped her spread out her investment risk. So throughout the 25 years, Piper's individual investments performed differently at different times. Sometimes earning higher returns, sometimes performing less successfully, and sometimes even losing money. So they clearly balanced her out. You'll see that one of her investments lost money. She actually lost $2,500 on one of her investments. The other investment made her 4% return. The third investment made her 8% return. And the final investment was a home run, and she actually made a 12% return. So all in all, she made close to $64,000 as opposed to her sister who made $43,000 over those 25 years. So Piper earned just close to $21,000 more than her sister by just being diversified. So once again, it's about getting invested, diversifying, and staying invested. The longer time you have, the better reward you are going to end up with. So that's about it. I want to just go quickly and summarize some good habits for the future. Number one is have a plan of what you want in the future, okay? Not only the long-term future, but also where do you want to be 3 years from now, 5 years from now? And then also, plan for your longer retirement future. And it's never too early to begin to save. And don't worry if you don't have money today to save and invest. Just make sure that you go through the basics. Plan, get a budget in place of what you're doing, control any sort of debt, and save enough cash so you don't put yourself into debt, and have an emergency fund. So don't let debt bring you down. And you also always want to know where your money is going. Make smart financial decisions. And if you don't have the answers yourself, you need to ask questions. You can ask questions of your teachers. You can ask questions of me. You can just reach out and find out what you don't know and continue to learn. The future can be very bright. I know you have challenges. This virus that we're facing, this pandemic, has really rattled everybody. And I just want to say that there's going to be more challenges in the future. There's going to be times where we're frustrated, that we don't succeed, that we fail. But those times are learning experiences. Always believe in yourself and always continue to just have your future in mind, because you are the one who can change the path to the future. I wish you all so much success, and I know that you are going to have bright futures ahead. Thank you, and I look forward to always just being here to help and hopefully seeing you at another time in the future. Be well and stay safe. Thank you.